Hi everybody, this is Nina, and today we will have a look at chapter 3 of the book Information Systems, which is about the fashion retail company Zara and its savvy systems. There are 4 learning objectives for this chapter. I just quickly summed up the main learning objective, which is to understand how Zara's parent company, Inditex, leveraged a technology-enabled strategy to become the world's largest fashion retailer. And during the course of this presentation or the chapter, we will have a look at contrasts between the company or the brand Zara and other fashion retailers, as well as have a detailed look at Zara's use of the information technology, and then finally take a look at possible environmental threats and options to address these threats for the company. Let's start off with a general introduction to the company, Zara. It is a Spanish apparel retailer based in Galicia in Spain, and the company was founded in 1975 by a guy named Ortega. Maybe some of you know this man. He's very famous for starting Zara, and he's one of the richest people I believe I read. Yes, then the company is the largest apparel retailer of the world at the moment, and it specializes in fast fashion. It belongs to the Inditex group, as we heard before, and what is important or what can be said is that the Inditex group supports a total of 8 brands, and the brand of Zara is unquestionably the firm's growth engine, since it accounts for roughly 2/3 of its total sales. Continuing with an introduction to Zara by the chapter, it is stated that Zara is the game-changing clothes giant in the multi-brand empire of the Inditex Corporation. The firm uses a blend of technology-enabled strategy, and unlike rivals, the firm shuns advertising and rarely runs sales. In an industry where nearly every major player outsources manufacturing to low-cost countries, Zara is one of the companies which is highly vertically integrated and is keeping many of its production processes in-house. So there's the question, why study Zara? While competitors falter, Zara is undergoing one of the fastest global expansions the fashion world has ever seen. Zara is opening 1 store per day and entering new markets worldwide. At the moment, the brand is presented in over 96 markets. The chain's profitability is among the highest in the industry, and in August 2008, sales edged ahead of the fashion retailer Gap, making Inditex the world's largest fashion retailer. Zara's clothes look high fashion but are comparatively inexpensive, and an average item usually costs around $27. While physical retailers are struggling, and for example H&M and Gap, they are shrinking their retail footprints, There's only one reason why Zara closes stores, and that is to open even bigger ones to meet their demand. Now, in order to understand and appreciate how counterintuitive and successful Zara's strategy is and how technology makes all of this possible, it's important to first examine the conventional wisdom in the apparel retail. And to do that, we will now have a look at the former industry leader, Gap. Most of fashion retailers place their orders for seasonal collection months before these lines make an appearance in stores. So this means trying to guess what customers want months in advance, which is a very tricky business, and which is also what Gap did. And in retail in general, and in fashion in particular, there's the saying, inventory equals death. So that means that to have too much unwanted products on hand will force a brand to mark down or write off items, and this eventually also kills profits. For years, the company and brand Gap sold most of what it carried in stores. But then in the 2000s, their company faced financial crisis, and for that reason, the CEO of Gap tried to revitalize the brand with a focus on products chasing the youth market. So from then on, Gap stores started offering miniskirts, low-rise jeans, and even a line of purple leather pants. They stated in the book, all planned to attract young customers. But the throngs of the teenagers the brand sought to attract with their special designs and clothes, they never showed up, and the shift in offerings also sent away Gap's mainstay customers, since they realized they are not selling their classics anymore, and they went to retailers that easily copied the styles that Gap had made classic in the first time. And yeah, so Gap's same store sales declined for 29 months straight, and profits vanished. For this reason, as mentioned before, in 2008, Inditex became the world's largest fashion retailer, and not Gap anymore. Here in this table, you can see a comparison between the two fashion retailers, and you can see clearly to which level Inditex is more successful than Gap. Within the retail business, many companies, they make use of cheap contract manufacturing in developing countries. We all heard of that if we hear about where the jeans comes from and where it has been before it landed in the stores where we bought it. Yeah, and contract manufacturing, the basic meaning of contract manufacturing is to outsource production to third-party firms. Usually that happens to developing countries like Malaysia, Bangladesh, or Sri Lanka. Conventional wisdom suggests that leveraging cheap contract manufacturing is into developing countries can keep the cost of goods low. Yes, this is why many firms actually have these contract manufacturings, but there are two sides to the contract manufacturing. There is the advantage that firms can lower prices and sell more products or maintain higher profit margins, which is, of course, all good for the bottom line. But there are also disadvantages that come with firms using contract manufacturing. Like, in order to have the low cost bid, contract firms skim on safety, ignore environmental concerns, or employ child labor, or may engage in other bad practices. One example that probably comes to our minds is the Rana Plaza disaster in Bangladesh, which killed more than 1,100 people and was in every newspaper and news article. An additional disadvantage is that evidence of negligence or ignoring illegal practices could also expose a firm to lawsuits. So, which is why today's managers need to think deeply, not only about their own firm's ethical practices, but also about those of all their suppliers and partners. Don't guess, gather data, make small batches of what customers want and ship it fast. This is a slogan which could represent what Zara stands for. Many clothing retailers like H&M, they report billions of US dollars on unsold inventory. And to keep up with the exclusivity of the brand, these unsold clothes are a lot of times destroyed rather than donated or sold with discount, which is very bad. But how does Zara make sure that the stores carry the kinds of things customers want to buy? Because this is why Zara is that successful. First of all, Zara is asking their customers. That means Zara's store managers lead an intelligence gathering effort that heavily influences the products that the firm produces. For example, Zara's store staff is armed with custom apps on mobile devices, usually iPods or phones or iPads, and they regularly chat with customers to gain insights on what they would like to see on store racks and shelves. The staff then enters these responses on their mobile devices and send these insights back to headquarters. Another level of data gathering starts as soon as the door closes. When the store is closed, the staff turns into a sort of investigation unit in trend spotting, they called it. This means they are looking for evidence in the piles of unsold items that the customers tried on but didn't buy. And look if there are any preferences in clothes or color or styles among the products. Information on what's selling is also counted via the store's point of sales, or also called POS system, where cash registers that bring up sales and deduct sold items from inventory. Today, in nearly every retailer and every industry has a POS system, and this is because the sales data gathered from these systems is very important. But Zara goes beyond. Zara also leverage staff to gather more data via these via product data acquisition and other means. This includes or this helps to point to new products that customers want to see on Stack in the future. And it also helps to uncover reasons why some products are being rejected. In essence, it can be said that the POS tells the firm what's selling, while product data acquisition and related data tell the firm what customers at a given location want to see on shelves. All this valuable data then allows the firm to plan and design new products, and also or figure out what's the issue with products that don't sell through feedback from the customer. And the overall goal of this is to improve frequency and quality of decisions made by the design and the planning teams. Okay, taking a look at the design. From the chapter, I learned that rather than create trends by pushing new lines via catwalk fashion shows, Zara is a company that designs following evidence of customer demand. So the firm's chairman and CEO also noted once, our business model is the opposite of the traditional model. Instead of designing a collection long before the season and then working out whether clients like it or not, we try to understand what our customers like, and then we design it and produce it. So data on what sells and what customers want to see is forwarded directly from the stores or the store manager within the stores to the cube. That's the headquarter, or what's the headquarter called? The cube. And within headquarter, there are teams of designers develop products based on customer demand and sales data. For example, H&M offers lines by star designers like Stella McCartney and Karl Lagerfeld. In contrast, the Zara design staff relies heavily on young and fresh designers from design school. Team members must be humble enough to accept feedback from colleagues and share credit for winning ideas. That's what's said in the chapter, as well as individual bonuses are tied to the success of the team, and teams are regularly rotated to cross-pollinate experience and encourage innovation. Something I think is very interesting and successful, since through rotating staff, everybody gets to know all areas, and also feedback is very important within the business system, and it always credits the whole team. So it's team oriented, and I think that's very, very important. If we go to manufacturing and logistics of Zara, we can take a look at the fashion retail business in general, since usually a fashion retailer takes months to plan and design and contract manufacturers tool up production and ship the items to the warehouses, and then later from the warehouses to the retail locations or even to a customer's home. And here it is very interesting that, or very exciting to read, that Zara gets its locally targeted designs as quickly into store shelves as possible. And the book even mentioned an example where a pop star played a set of concerts in Spain, and at the final show, there were teenage girls arriving in a knockoff of the outfit the pop star wore during her first performance. And this design, they were by Zara. So this shows how quickly and how fast the supply chain of Zara can work. The book even states that the average time for a Zara concept to go from idea to appearance in store is only 15 days. So this is not much time to go from idea to actually for a customer to being able to buy this product. Because compared to their rivals who receive new styles once or twice a season. So this is a totally different timing. Zara is about 12 times faster than Gap, despite offering roughly 10 times more the unique products. And for example, at H&M, it takes about 3 to 5 months to go from the creation to delivery, and they're considered one of the best fashion retailers worldwide. So the firm is able to be so as responsive through a competitor crushing combination of vertical integration and technology orchestrated coordination of suppliers, just-in-time manufacturing, and finely tuned logistics. And just to define vertical integration quickly, this is when a single firm owns several layers in its value chain. Furthermore, while H&M has about 900 suppliers and no factories, nearly 60% of Zara's merchandise is produced in-house, with an eye on leveraging technology in those areas that speed up complex tasks, lower cycle time, and reduce error. The profits at Zara come in part from blending math with data-driven fashion sense. More to manufacturing and logistics, it's interesting about inventory optimization models, which help the firm determine how many and of which items in which sizes should be delivered to a specific store during twice weekly shipments. That's also very interesting that Zara has twice weekly shipments, which is not common in the fashion industry. But this ensures that each store is stocked with what it needs and what customers are looking for. So it can be said that Zara's inventory is smart. The security tags on the clothes are custom made, and they include the RFID technology, which stands for radio frequency identification tags. And these are wirelessly emit a unique identification code for the individual item that they are attached to. As an item moves also around, the Zara distribution center or even the Zara stores scanners and either wall scanners or scanners that you can hold in your hand. They can list in, track the product, and take inventory. The RFID lets Zara know where the products are. So in store, it is important to know that, since a customer could always ask for an item in a store, but perhaps in a different size or color. And then staff can use the custom app on their iPod Touch to immediately tell if a product is in store, or if it's in a nearby store, or if it can be ordered online. Zara's vertical integration is an advantage here as well, since the entire supply chain is under Zara's control and all items flow through one of the two warehouses. Zara can affix tags to all the products before sending them out to stores. Which is very handy because stores just easily remove tags when customers buy the item, and then they send the tags back to Zara warehouses for the reuse. And these RFID tags also allow Zara staff to take in-store inventory 4 times faster as without or pre-RFID rate, with greater accuracy and using 1/4 of the staff that was needed before to do that. And additionally, Zara is also a pioneer in going green, so with an environmental strategy that includes the use of renewable energy systems at logistics centers and biodiesel for the firm's truck fleet. Now I want to show you a video from the chapter which shows the RFID tags in use, and I think it is very interesting to see. Okay, moving forward. Let's take a look at stores. Within the fashion industry, most products are manufactured for a limited production run. I think we have talked about that a little bit before. And usually running out of bestsellers is seen as a disaster at most retailers, for example at H&M and Gap. But Zara is the practice, but at Zara the practice delivers several benefits. This means that first, limited runs allow the firm to offer customers exclusivity, and each Zara store is stocked with items tailored to tastes of the local clientele. Second, it limited runs encourage customers to buy right away and at full price. And savvy Zara shoppers know that the newest item arrive. They do know that. I didn't know that before. Arrive on plastic hangers. So later the store staff transfers the items on wooden ones. And yeah, savvy Zara shoppers know that. So they come in on time and then they buy them right away. The firm also began experimenting with self-service checkouts to help customers to get out even quicker. The constant parade of new limited run items also encourages customers to visit more often. The average Zara customer, it's stated in the book, visits the store about 17 times per year, and compared to other competitors where people or customers only visit 3 times annually. This is a huge difference. Finally, limited production runs allow the firm also to reduce the risk of making a mistake to a minimum. This is self-explanatory, I think, and we can continue with that while stores, the Zara stores provide the valuable frontline data, headquarters plays a major role in directing the in-store operations. There's a software used to schedule staff based on each store's forecast sales volume. And even the store displays are directed from the cube, so the headquarters, in the cube in the basement. Staging area known as the Fashion Street houses a Potemkin village of bogus storefronts meant to mimic some of the chain's most exclusive locations throughout the world. It's exactly there where the workers test and fine-tune the chain's award-winning window displays, merchandise layouts, and even determine the in-store soundtracks. Every 2 weeks, new store layouts, marching orders are forwarded to managers at each location. And Zara stores are going even more high-tech since the firm's mobile phone app allowed customers visiting certain stores then to scan displays and even see mannequins turn into viral runway models, strutting and twirling to offer a handheld catwalk glimpse. I'm moving forward to integration of e-commerce, omnichannels, and so on. Zara has boosted its e-commerce efforts in the past years, and Inditex sees e-commerce as a critical part of the firm's omnichannel strategy. which blends online and offline sales in a way that best benefits the customer. The company sees the link between online and offline sales as being fluid. And as an example for it are that about 2/3 of online shopping returns at Zara are done in store, and 1/3 of all online orders are scheduled for in-store pickup. Many returns of clothing to the store are usually exchanged for new sizes, which are much easier to do in person. And for that, if a customer comes back with an item to return, and that item is not available in the current location, the store staff can order it online from their in-store apps, allowing to rescue a sale and satisfy the customer. A review of fashion e-commerce apps even rated Zara's offering as best in class. I think that's really great to mention. And furthermore, Zara has already expanded its ability to fulfill e-commerce orders by developing 52 special e-commerce stockrooms globally, each capable of delivering to stores or customer homes to make the supply chain even quicker and faster. Additionally, Zara also offers click and collect stations. Customers can even visit a large touch screen in some locations and type in their order numbers, and then a robot delivers a, as they say, lovely packed order. And Zara provides delivery direct from Spain to markets where the firm does not yet have store presence, even though that's just a few. In London, Zara also experimented with a e-commerce focused pop-up store, which there was not much more to read in the book, but I think that's something that will come in the future. A quick definition again of omnichannel. That's the approach to retail that offers consumers an integrated and complementary set of shop sales and return experiences. Coming to the next slide, where we take a look at moving forward. There can be said that with Zara moving forward into the future, we need to consider the limitations of Zara's Spain-centric and just-in-time manufacturing model. We've heard about before, because by moving all of the firm's deliveries through just 2 locations, both in Spain, the firm remains hostage to anything that could create a disruption in this region. And both of these big locations where all the deliveries move through are situated in southern Spain. So it's even more likely to create a disruption which affects the region where both centers are situated. These disruptions could even be things like weather or natural disasters, terrorism, or political unrest. And by spreading facilities throughout the globe, firms usually hedge the risks of occurrences like that. In addition to operational vulnerabilities, the model also leaves the firm potentially more susceptible to financial vulnerabilities. This includes periods when the euro, for example, strengthens relatively to foreign currencies, especially to the dollar. And then there's also rising transportation costs, which is another concern. If the fuel costs rises, the model of twice weekly deliveries that has been key to define the Zara experience becomes more expensive to maintain. Still, Zara is able to make up for some cost increases by raising price overseas. Finally, firm financial performance can also be impacted by broader economic conditions. When the company vultures, consumers simply buy less and may move a greater share to their wallets to less stylish and low-cost offerings from deep discounters like, for example, Walmart. Zara is also particularly susceptible to conditions in Europe, since that market accounts for roughly 2/3 of the firm's sales. The global expansion will and can provide the firm with a mix of locations that may be better able to endure downturns in a single region. So something to look forward in the future. So the key takeaway is that Zara's value chain is difficult to copy, but it is not invulnerable, nor is future dominance guaranteed. Zara management must be aware of the limitations in its business model and must continually scan its environment and be prepared to react to new threats and opportunities.